everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I'm going to do the classical music tag. This tag was created by Bourdouxhe and he tagged me as well. I will link his original video in the description. Basically the idea is to pick a piece of classical music that you like and connect books with them and sort of motivate the thing that makes you think of these books for this particular piece of classical music. So he did a fantastic video. I really recommend you check that out if you are interested in classical music, and he also does wonderful recommendations. So I will link that, as I said, in the description. I decided to go with Edward Elgar's Salut d'amour. This is a piece of classical music that I actually came across through a book that I read last year. It is the book that I frequently mentioned in connection to classical music, Gone, a Girl, a Violin, a Life Unstrung by Min Kum, this is basically a musical memoir written by a violinist. Part of the book is her talking about recording her own CD or her own album, and one of the songs in that album is Salut d'amour. I loved it immediately after listening to it. I think I probably listened to it at least once a week since I first heard it last year. So I have completely fallen in love with this piece of music. I always get goosebumps. I feel that I often am moved to tears by it, and I think that is actually one of the things I really love about music, and in particular classical music and music that uses violin. It gives me a lot of a very strong emotional response, and it also gives me a sense of something like a timelessness, a little moment where time has stopped, and a very warm and a warm embrace is basically how I would describe this. I will link one of my favorite versions of it in from Spotify. The books that I wanted to recommend based on this. First is this book, which doesn't tell you much. Let's see if I can find this book. It is Karin Boye's poetry collection. As you can probably tell by the tabs on the top and the sides, I had a lot of favorites in this. Karin Boye is a Swedish writer. She was born in the same town where I live. A lot of her poetry is very discussing a lot of nature and has a lot of beautiful imagery. She has some religious themes and motives. It really captures beauty in nature. She captures beauty in the way she uses the Swedish language. I wanted to read one of my favorite poems to you in an English translation. It doesn't quite do the same as it does in Swedish, but I thought it would give you sort of an idea of the beautiful way she views the world and how this particular poem is sort of about love, and that is definitely well matched with the song. How can I tell if your voice is beautiful? I only know that it penetrates me and makes me shake like a leaf and tears me to shreds and splits me. What do I know about your skin and limbs? It makes me tremble that they are yours, so for me there is no sleep or rest till they are mine. A novel that I read not so long ago is Marie by Madeleine Bourdouxhe. This is translated by Faith Evans, and this novel I have mentioned quite a lot of times since I read it in January, I think. Been definitely one of my favorite books of the year so far. It is basically about a young woman who talks about her everyday, and she talks about her experiences with other people she meets. She's married, she has an affair at the beginning of the book. The actual storyline, there's not much going on, but the way she views the world is what made me think of the connection between the music and the book. Because for me, Salut d'amour is, a lot of it is about the beautiful perspective that it brings me, at least. The way that I feel like the world becomes a warmer place. Even though she's not always happy, there's a gentleness in her worldview and how she looks at other people and how she views herself in the world. How she seems to sort of be in love with the world, and that is also how I sort of think about this music. So yeah, so that is how I connect those two. Another writer that immediately came to mind is Tove Jansson. This is a volume with all of her, or a lot of her, short stories. The parts that I've read is part of the collection The Listener. Again, it is the same sort of the vibe of the short stories that made me think of connecting the music with Tove Jansson. She does the same thing in the summer book, in that she captures the small interactions, and kind of like Salinger in that there's a very small slice of a life and you still see something of that character's true essence in a way, even though it is a very short span of time. I feel like there's sort of an optimism in the way that these characters, both in these short stories and in the summer book, view the world. There's an optimism in the way they look at other people in the world that is quite close to how I view the world, or how I try to view the world, to have an openness to other people and to embrace the differences and the variety that the world brings. And I think that is the kind of music that really appeals to me, is the music that sort of captures that openness to the world. Probably the main reason I connect Tove Jansson with Salut d'amour is the feeling of always being embraced when I'm reading her short stories or her work in general. Even actually the Moomin books, they have sort of the feeling of being taken care of as soon as you enter into that world, that you're always welcomed. That is also a sort of a part of the music that I associate all of these books with. And that leads me nicely on to my last choice, which is The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim, that I've also read very recently. The story itself is about 4 women who decide to rent a villa together in Italy in April, in the entire month of April. And they're very different people, and they all run away from different things, and they all want different things out of this month-long holiday, but they end up becoming quite close as the month progresses. And this book is so warm, and it is such a beautiful book, partly in the way Elizabeth von Arnim writes about nature and the blooming of nature as it is spring around them, and the blooming of nature and both the nature and the characters themselves, and how they grow and open up to each other in the progression of the book. But it's also just so inviting. One of the characters is Mrs. Wilkins, is one of the main reasons that this is so inviting. She is having a great impact on the other characters in the book, and she extends an invitation to you as a reader as well. And there's just the feeling that this book and this world, this setting and this place is forever. It feels like an eternal place, and that you're always welcome to return to it. So there's the timelessness again. For just a moment, time isn't important. Whether it is the time has stopped or it's just timeless, it is a place where you can just be. And that is also, again, how I view all of these books and how I view the music. So those are the books that I thought of in connection to Salut d'amour. I would also like to tag Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures in case you haven't been tagged yet, because I know you listen to classical music. That is all I have today. I hope you're having a really good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.